All right, we are live for Wise Talk Saturday afternoon or Saturday afternoon discussion. Excited to be back with the group. We got Mr. Alan Myers, we got Trader Steph and Bitcoin Ben for this live stream, and so looking forward to touching on a variety of subject matter, but also opening up to those that have some interesting subject matter they want to cover as well. Feel free to do so via super chat, and we will get those addressed. So as we get started, let's tip off right away. Who wants to lead the charge today with the first topic of the day?
I'll go.
Mr. Bitcoin Ben, take it away.
You know me, I always love talking. Wait, maybe welcome everybody. All right, what I'd like to talk about today is the overwhelming amount of large corporations that are getting into blockchain and cryptocurrency exposure.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's a project out there called Lolly, Lolli, and if you look them up on Twitter, you you will locate them right away. They were the CEO was on MSNBC or CNBC. I can't remember which one.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, what they are, they're a plug-in on your browser. And as you shop at Walmart and like Best Buy and all these places, it recognizes what website you're on, and then as you shop, you actually get rewards in your Lolly wallet of actual Bitcoin. I think when you shop at Walmart, you get like 0.09 or 0.9% cash back, except you're getting it in Bitcoin in your Lolly wallet. And what makes it such a big deal is it's introducing these larger corporations into what exactly is cryptocurrency, why it got value, how many people use it, and those numbers will actually show these larger corporations, because what I predict's going to happen is as Lolly grows larger, and I am a disclaimer, I am not getting paid by Lolly to talk about this. It is these larger corporations are going to want a piece of that money that they're locking up in their wallets. You know, if there's value, or if there's any currency or any exchange of value available, these larger corporations want that used on their platform. You know, it's kind of like the transition into using credit cards in the 80s. You know, not every single place accepted credit cards in 84 or 85 or 83. Well, once everyone realized that more and more people were using it, then everyone wanted a credit card machine. The old, the old one with the paper.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to see with cryptocurrencies, because the number of cryptocurrency wallets over the last year that have been generated is mind-blowing. We're talking millions and millions of Litecoin wallets, millions of Bitcoin wallets, and the percentage of those that are that are new users in cryptocurrencies. We can't really tell, but judging off the average of what the cryptocurrency average user has, we're gaining about 100,000 to 200,000 new cryptocurrency users every month all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had an announcement that Spotify joined the Libra project with Facebook. Now, we've had a lot of these, initial companies jump off the Libra, idea.
Yeah.
Well, now we're having a few of them join back up.
Yeah.
And the reason that's going on, I think, is because everyone knows that the transition's coming. It's happening. We're in the middle of it, and the smarter, forward-thinking corporations are getting ahead of the herd.
Yeah, so with Facebook, so I haven't heard anything about Libra. It hasn't been mainstream attention. Where are they at now with that project? Is that underway now, or did it go get through all the approval needed, or is still in the review phase by the regulators? If anybody knows.
The Libra project is they're actually taking the right approach for them. They're creating their project and not really looking for any permission.
Yeah.
Because they know that if every little move that they make forward, they're asking for permission, then they'll never get their project done. And plus, in America, that's not how we work.
Yeah.
That's not how the free market should or will work.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like I see the article here. Shopify joins Facebook cryptocurrency Libra Association. So my question is for anybody out there, for those that are watching, where do we stand as far as this current health situation is underway now, to where you can see that will this health situation really speed up the push for the use of digital currency in the form of, because central banks are on a rush. The e-corona in Sweden was just announced. It's going to be a year trial run, but I'm thinking like they're already digital primarily anyway, so that's nothing really new there. But that's the first central bank that has said that they will attempt to have the e-corona. Now, how much longer before the Federal Reserve comes with the e-dollar or whatever else as a way of linking all this health scary in, because people don't want to touch cash eventually. And so how much does this play into the mainstream narrative anyway?
Michael, what do you mean healthcare? I'm trying to understand.
When I'm saying health scare, because I can't actually use that particular word because automatically the algorithms will flag you, and therefore the video will not get the type of promotion that it will without using that word. So the health scare, the global health scare is what I'm referring to.
Oh, the scare. Okay,
yeah.
I thought you said care. My mistake. No.
Yeah, anybody got any thoughts on that? Anybody?
Yeah, I do.
Feel free. What's up, Trader Steph? Go ahead, let us have it. What you think?
I don't think it really matters, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're seeing reports they're burning cash in China. Yeah, there are issues with using hard cash, but everyone needs to realize, look, when I worked for Citi back in the mid-90s, I was using electronic banking before the majority of people out there even knew it existed.
Mm-hmm.
And how many people are actually using cash today? More than most people think. But look, we're in the age of debit card.
Yeah. With
the war on cash, we've had credit cards for decades. It's not like there aren't electronic options available out there that you can use at home. You don't need to be at the store and actually show them a card.
Yeah.
So, and on one level, yes, it does. If you're in a hot zone, it's a problem. But you still have the option to use the current modes of payment that already exist. So it's not like digital currencies, which in a respect we're already there. They're just not Bitcoin per se, but there are options, and I'm sure crypto is going to take a niche of some of that market, no doubt.
Interesting. Now, as we move forward, I'm curious. My topic I want to touch on definitely is, just this health scare and the impacts of it here locally. And so there hasn't been as many cases reported as there have been in various other countries, predominantly in the Asian region. Now, do you see from a logistical, trade standpoint / economic standpoint, will this really hinder GDP long run as well as shut down operations for our country this coming spring or summer? What do you guys think?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
On this issue, again, God forbid, this is a terrible event, a terrible health event around the world. So I'm not making light of it. Mm-hmm. However, it does bring up one very clear point for me, and that is America has become excessively dependent on other countries, including China, to get items that we really need to be making in the United States. So we are a standalone, self-sufficient country. If you were dependent to a high level for basic needs, you cannot be the strength of the world. You're completely dependent. And we're about to find out just how dependent we are. I saw a news report. I think it was out of Shanghai. And it was during the day, during the week. And the reporter was walking around different areas. Normally, these walkways, these streets, traffic circles are jam-packed with people and cars. Mm-hmm. Okay, there was almost no one out. If no one is out in one of the busiest cities in the world, driving cars, trucks, walking on the streets, what work is getting done?
No.
If work isn't getting done, and we're dependent on them getting work done to send us stuff, such as medicines and other things that we've have become we need or we want for our life, well, we're not going to get them. Then we're going to have the shortage. And given that, again, unfortunately, China is the impact zone for this health problem, and you're worried about touching cash or coin in this country, do you want to touch goods made in China?
Yeah,
I'm thinking no. We need to return to the time, and I don't know if this is accurate, but it's my take on it. There's a reason why America was so successful in World War II. In a day and a half, we could stop making cars and start making tanks and planes. We got in. I mean, we were at war on two fronts in 3 days, between Europe and the Pacific. We had 1 million people in uniform. Mm-hmm. Germany and Japan had 9 million. How were we able to compete? Because we could pretty much make anything we needed. We need to return to the time of self-sufficiency. That way we can actually be a help to the world and not be dependent on it.
Yeah, I think self-sufficiency might come after we realize how dependent upon China and other manufacturers we have become, to where there might be a little bit of initiative for citizens here to demand that we crank up some of those factories. Because here in Metro Detroit, we got more than enough empty warehouses and factories that used to be manufacturing hubs. So the buildings are still there now. Not much, actual tools and stuff is inside of them, but we still got the infrastructure, just minus the ability to get it done now. But that will be something that we're looking to do, and as we transition to whatever is coming next. So, but it's going to be in a digital economy, unfortunately. Then the question will be, will people be willing to take less in the form of their pay to get this system started again if it's a rebuilding phase?
To your point, as far as people demanding, to me, the way every individual can demand right now is you buy things made in the USA, and you don't buy things made in China or other countries, and you send the message to the retailer, you send the message to the wholesaler, you send the message to the manufacturer. How come we're not selling this stuff? Because it's made in the wrong country. This is how people can take action on a daily basis and share the attitude with others. We've been around electronic or digital money for a long time. My biggest concern, and we're going to see how this potentially plays out in Scandinavia because they're so far along. I think it's Sweden with going full electronic, no physical money. Well, when you only have one choice, you have no options. Once again, you're totally dependent on the system. And the system is computer access, internet access, electricity, one of those, or you just get plain locked out. Okay, when a monetary system loses its physical unit, you just became seriously dependent.
Yeah, and that's where everything is heading, and we're all aware of that. And so it's one of those things like we have two choices: we either accept it or we don't. And as of right now, majority of the population has no real interest in creating a battle when they're just basically concerned with survival for themselves, because most of the people that are okay with it are already heavily dependent upon the government. So there's not many people for the resistance at the end of the day, in my personal opinion.
In my humble opinion, we're not going to see the disappearance of hard cash in our lifetimes.
Yay.
Okay, now the reason I say that is some of the countries that you mentioned who have experimented or more along the path, so to speak, they've done studies where they've pulled back because they realized that because of demographics, for one reason, it's not feasible because not everybody has the ability to do it. So with that in mind, we talk a generation or two out, on planet Earth, could be. But one area that it will definitely be required, and I talked about this 2 years ago, actually, when I did a piece on AI, and we produced a video with Crush the Street. Mm-hmm. It's like, look, when we get into a space-fearing nation, that's when crypto will be more important. But then the question is, by that time, will the central banks have already nudged out crypto because of regulations or cracked down on it and restricted its use? So back to my original point when I spoke earlier, there's a niche for the market. There's no doubt about it. Crypto's not going anywhere. But there is going to be some challenges moving forward.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be that like right now, everything is in the experimental phase. I mean, so the final decision maker will be how the central banks, if they are still in control of national currencies as we know them now, then they won't stand by and let the decentralized projects really take root and become what excites the public. And so, Ben, do you think regulation will really ramp up? Like I saw something about the Federal Reserve now, they're looking to really start ramping things up on regulation side of things. Will it work or will it not work?
It will not work. Cryptocurrencies, like the internet, is a social virus.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need.
Of truth. Right? Because every other system can lie. Cryptocurrencies and blockchains, they can't lie. And so truth, if you like truth, then you should like cryptocurrency. If you don't like truth, then you're probably anti-cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency won't allow you to have an exchange of value where you can lie in the transaction. And I agree that it is a matter of time as cryptocurrencies are adopted, but I don't think it's as long as people think, because we're living in a world that is nothing but lies. And cryptocurrencies are the truth virus that is going to bring all of the crooked systems to their knees. Because once once more cryptocurrency platforms actually come out, people will recognize truth and they'll move away from lies. So once we hit about 6% in each country, it's over. It actually goes viral, like what's going on over in there, and that's why I don't worry about what anyone says on like cryptocurrency. It's eventually everyone will get it. It's just which ones are the smart ones that get it first.
Now, here's another thing. So cryptos are clearly a part of our future. It's basically a rebranding of the digital currencies we have now.
No,
So with the e-krona, for example, apart from them spinning it off as a blockchain base, they're using all the words or verbiage of the decentralized nature, but it's still centrally controlled. So the only true benefit in what you're sharing is that it's decentralized in nature and it's used as a way for social interaction amongst the people outside of a centrally controlled system in the form of the digital currency issued by the commercial banks primarily as reserves, as Alan would say.
right. What will happen is exactly what happened with the internet. Originally, they were all intranets, where each corporation had their own intranet, and they didn't want to exchange information outside of the company. Well, that model does not work in a global economy. You have to have interoperability or you're left behind. So just like the intranet, the internet grew out of intranets. The true decentralized cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, like Bitcoin, like Bitcoin Cash, those will win in the end because people realize that they're trustless. You don't have to have trust in humans. You just have to trust the actual code, and code is law, and that's it. So I don't, like I said, I don't worry about all of the haters and all that. They're the equivalent of people who said no one will ever, send an email. Well,
Yeah.
okay, fellas, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's just an adjustment to a new paradigm, and it's already underway. So, a lot of people choose to remain stuck into an old system, even though it's clear as day that the system has already shifted. It's just a matter of some people want to hang on to the ways of old. Why not just open up your perspective and be a little bit more open-minded towards it? Anyway it goes.
And make money.
Yeah, you can always have your physical weight, and that's one thing I was going to get to next about gold, because as we're being transitioned into the digital age, central banks still see great value in gold, and so outside of them preparing their own digital currencies for us, they're still accumulating massive amounts of physical weight themselves. So gold and silver always will play a major role because it is money in of itself. So, Steph, I'm curious, Steph, on some of the analysis type of things that you wanted to share. You want to transition to that?
Yeah, let's roll. Let me share my screen.
All right, share your screen, and we will get to some technical analysis from Trader Steph.
All right. Make sure I get the right screen up here. Yeah, that's the right one. So you let me know when you're ready.
All right, so I'm showing the screen now. So the screen is up, and we got something in front of us now.
Can everybody out there in the public chat box see that?
Yep, they see what we see.
Might be a little delay in the. All right, so let's go. Since we ended with Ben there, I'm going to start off with a chart with Bitcoin for everyone to see. And I choose Bitcoin because it's just like .com. It was the first one. Okay, so most coins queue off. The industry tends to queue off of Bitcoin. So let's just take a look. And I don't want to get into too many details here. I don't want to get lost in the mud with technical analysis. That's not my point here. But I just want you to take in that chart with your eyeballs. Disconnect your brain, use your eyeballs, look at it. So look back to 2017. We got a trend line up top. We tapped it a second time on the run up through May of 2019. We put in lower lows. We came down. We pivoted. Now we had a rising wedge in the most recent run. And the issue is that we're running in. We're getting close up to that 2017 trend line again. We haven't taken it out. And we've already broken down through the rising wedge. So what I'm seeing here, we're sitting on a Fibonacci level, that 38.2 at around $9,600. That's where it's sitting. But that blue line that's running through the whole thing, that's the 50-day moving average. That's sitting at 82.51. I'm looking for a little bit of more downside action here, just based on the fact on the volume has not gotten back to where it was on the initial run up. We really need to see a pickup in that on the buy side for things for it to take off. More importantly, that red horizontal line there, back in when you get a big run, or even charts are fractal. So you can have a run, you pull back and then you bounce. If it doesn't take out the high that it initially put in, that's called the dead cat bounce. So it goes up, it misses, it comes back down. Well, when we had the big run back in 2017, we came down, we hit that low, we went through the 50, that blue line, we bounced up. That first bounce incurred, there were several challenges to the level right around 12K. And this chart you're looking at is a weekly chart. So every one of those candles are weekly money, weekly exchange on the charts. There were about 3 weeks. Actually, when you really look at the chart, there are 5 weeks that it just could not get through it. So that's a dead cat bounce. Now, if we look at that level and we go draw it out to the future, notice that descending triangle when we had the run in 2019, yes, it got through it. But the important point to note here, and I don't want to pull up the daily because I got to move things around, but you'll notice in this, let me zoom in, the top of a candle is called a wick, just like a candle, right? It never closed above that red line. It challenged it. It wasn't decisive. It didn't take it out. It fell back below, and the price closed below that red line. So that dead cat bounce became an issue. So from that point forward, you began to be drawing your lines and your patterns and doing your math from that high. And as you can see, we haven't taken out the 2017 high yet either, or that red line. So that's the number I'm looking at. And one last thing about this chart, down there at the bottom, we got some additional indicators. And they're still positive at this point. But you can see that one on the top, the Stochk RSI, is beginning to roll over, which tells me there's probably a little more downside here. It may pivot back up off that red line if the red line doesn't roll over too, but we just can't know for sure. It's kind of like we're in the middle here. We got some support around 9,600, but the number I'm thinking of is a pullback to at least 9. Maybe not. We may chop here for a while and then go up. You just don't know. But right now, this is not a bullish chart at this point until it takes out that 12. The one last thing about Bitcoin, when they actually approve an ETF, I said that about a year ago. If they approve an ETF, then you're going to see big money come in and play that ETF. Until that time, you're not going to see big movements in the market. Now, we're seeing it for various reasons. No doubt about that. But you can't discount what's going on specifically with high frequency trading, algorithms, artificial intelligence. They jumped into Bitcoin back in 2017, and that's why you had that run. And that's all about code. And you can't trust code. If you know anything about high frequency trading and coding, it's not truth. And it's manipulated on that level. So that's another whole conversation. Let's move right on to the gold chart.
Yeah, I would like to actually point out one thing, that we're sitting at 90, whatever the price is right now.
96.85.
Yep. Bitcoin has kicked the living shit out of gold.
Actually, it hasn't. But look, I don't want it. I want the time here for the audience to be able just to see the charts. I don't want to get into a debate about gold versus Bitcoin because they're two completely different animals. You got your point of view, I got mine, but let's just go to the chart. I would really appreciate that. So let's hit gold, and we're on the weekly. And as Ben would say, it's had a kick-ass run. It's totally outperformed anything that's out there. It's outperformed the S&P and the Dow since 2000 by a long shot. We're talking like about roughly, don't hold me on these numbers because it's constantly changing, but on the S&P, about 135% since 2000, and gold is in the beyond 450% gain since 2000. So it's blown everything away. Now, looking at the gold chart, we had a nice run this week. This is coronavirus. This is fear. This is safe haven. That's what this is. Now, there is fundamentals. There's a lot of things going on here, but the initial push, when you're watching this play out on a daily basis, on a 1-minute basis, 24/7, you can see how it ties into the coronavirus news. Now, you can throw in some news items from the Fed and what's going on with monetary policy, but now that's all influenced by what's going on with the coronavirus. We can't get away from it now. We're infected with it. Cat's out of the bag. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how bad and how far it's going to continue to go on. And from that perspective, it's here forever. It's a superbug. It's going to reemerge at different points, and it'll be a seasonality to it. So, it's a bummer. So gold, we ran up to 1650, close to 1650. Really nice close. And when I'm looking here at the weekly, you'll notice that on those volume patterns, volume is just continually rising. It's not letting up. It's getting bigger. And that really didn't start in earnest until we got into 2013, 14, and the low in 2015. Now, remember, the central banks started buying a lot of gold back in 2010. They became net buyers. That was because of the Basel III rules. They were allowed to value gold at 100% its value from that point forward. Central banks started buying back then. So when you look at that chart and they say central banks are net buyers, that's why. And that's not letting up for any reason whatsoever. So what's the next number? What's the bottom line on the gold chart? On my most recent analysis, I talked about this on several occasions. And the article that you can look at where I last touched on it is at my website. And it's the gold overhead resistance. And we've taken that out. So that was 1620. That goes back to 2013 before we broke down and had the big pullback. The next number is 1697. And those are those red lines. That's just like a bus stop. It's an intermediary. Then beyond that, we got a fib around 1733. So everything looks good right now, but it's starting to get ahead of itself. If you look at those studies down on the bottom, they're in overbought territory. They're nowhere near oversold. It can hang out overbought for a while. There's still room to run. I'm looking at 1700 and then a good breather. But I would rather see another breather right now and some consolidation for a couple weeks or a few days just to give it some breathing time, because the more you spike, I don't care what asset it is, stock market or whatever, you start going in a straight line, the fall is going to be harder, right? It's just like punching the big guy. The big guys fall harder. So it's better for it to take its time and breathe. Let's go to the silver chart. And I want to flip out to the monthly here for folks. I did an interview with Mike a few weeks back, and we talked about this. But that 2150, see that big red arrow? That was a high that we put in back in the day in 2007, and we pulled back through the financial crisis, and then we pivoted and we came up. And once we took out that level, which let's just say 2150 for even numbers, it's a Fibonacci line, it rocketed. So there's like this gap back there. It's not a gap in price. It's just a run that happened really quick. So there's not much resistance. We have to take out that 2150 again now in order for it to really get a run that's not going to be impeded by a lot of resistance. And we haven't gotten there yet. We got close in 2015. We hit a high, 2113. It just didn't have the juice to get through that 2150 level. That's what I'm looking at. That doesn't mean that now's not a good time. If you're a stacker, it's a low price. You buy low, you sell high, right? But keep in mind, we're probably not going to see like serious action, $1, $2, $3 a day moves are potential until 2150 is taken out. GDX, don't want to take up too much more time here, but I got a lot of questions about the miners, so I'm just going to cover the ETFs. Let's take a look at those. There's a quick view on the monthly, on the GDX. Back in the day, we put in a high 66.98. It got creamed until 2015. We put in a low of 12.40. We bounced in 2015, put in a high of 31.79. Take a note of what's been going on since that 31.79. We put in a low of 17.28. We bounced up. We put in another high of 30.96. I want to zoom in on this. I want to give you a weekly, because there's a real important pattern that has shown up on this chart. I hope I'm not moving too fast. Let's sit right there for a moment. We got a cup and handle. It's not finalized yet, but that 31.79 and that 30.96, you know, that's roughly 80 cents, if I got my math right. Somewhere in that 80 cents is where we're looking for a breakout. So somewhere between those two numbers, and that's right where that rim line of the cup and handle is. So this is your cup. That's your handle. Very nice. The studies down at the bottom, they're just getting started. We got one in a little bit of overbought territory, but it's not killer. But notice that volume. That volume is not increasing on the weekly. It's beginning to fall off, which tells me it may have the chutzpah to get through that rim line because gold's flying right now. But like anything else, it's better to have breathers along the way and don't freak out. All right, let's go to the GDXJ. That's the miners, you know, not the majors, but the smaller miners. And here's the weekly. Now I'm going to go back to the monthly just to give you the big picture view just for a moment. Back in the day, 179.44, it got creamed all the way down to 16.87, 2015. We got the bounce. It looks almost identical to the GDX, but it's not, in two ways. One, pattern, second, price point. So let's zoom into the weekly. There we go. So we also have a, you know, at first glance you say, hey, Steph, you're missing that inverse head and shoulders there. Well, no. Because this right here may have been a left shoulder. Think of a head and two arms, and you got the shoulder. When you got them upside down with the head and the shoulders, that's bearish. But when the head is turned down and that's actually upside down, that's bullish. We've taken out that neckline right here, that black line. This shoulder almost went down to the low of the head. So that cancels out. So what we go to is just the cup and the handle. And within the handle, here's the beauty of this. We had an inverse head and shoulders in the handle, which is why it broke out of it already versus just the GDX. So very bullish, nice run here. It's not an overbought territory by a long shot. You know, on one study, it looks a little, but it's got more room to run. I would like to see it take a breather. The next bus stop is 46.81. Gold keeps running. That's where we're going to end up. And I think that wraps it up. Real brief. Twitter handle, in the website. And if you want TA, you want technical analysis, just go to my workshop page, drop me a note. I'd be more than happy to sign you up.
Trader Steph on the charts. I appreciate that because, as I mentioned before, I'm actually, because I'm want to be a little bit more proactive. So chart analysis, I think, comes in handy when looking to take advantage of disruptions in the market. You can profit on the other end of that curve if you know what you're doing when it comes to trading. Because the concept of buying and holding, to me, is very risky these days because all the markets are fake. So why not just play along with the trades and take risk upon yourself? That's just me personally. But anyway, I enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing that.
I just learned, Trader Steph, thank you very much. I got to say, I just learned a whole new set of vocabulary words or learned how to use words in a completely different way listening to you. I found it very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Can I take a different approach?
Yep, go ahead, share it.
Okay. Again, I don't have the ability to do that technical analysis. And so, Steph, I appreciate you bringing that in. But I guess I'm just too simple. I look at, and this comes from my forensic accounting background, I look at, okay, where are we really? What's really going on? Not wishes, hopes, dreams, whatever. What's going on? And to me, the way I look at this is, how does our monetary system really work today? And I believe it absolutely by design. This is not an accident. It works against us every day. And there's three symptoms of a serious, using the theme of today, serious disease that's in our face every day, that works against our financial stability every day, and they're treated as everyday, normal, nothing to talk about, move on. It's inflation, the need for federal income taxation, and national debt. For me, in a proper monetary system, you don't have any of those. They don't exist. And earlier, Michael, you said something about the final decision. To me, the final decision is eventually in each one of our hands. It's not in government. It's not at the Fed. Not if we are true citizen owners and tell the employees what to do. If we sit back and play victim or uninvolved spectator, the decision will be made. Mm-hmm. But if we get educated, learn to take things on, at this point, if someone's got an idea for a better unit of money, fine, bring it. But I see your hand, but I want answers to my three questions, which is, how do you get rid of, or the three elements of one question, how do you get rid of inflation, federal taxation, and national debt? If you don't get rid of those with the new system, the new idea, the new hope, the new dream, you haven't fixed what you're trying to fix. How long did our country run, the federal government operate, except for the Civil War, without any federal income tax? Pretty much its entire existence up till 1913. Are we asking too much of the federal government? The other is that, why do we have a national debt, given that it is an absolute massive unpayable Ponzi? Aren't Ponzi's illegal? Isn't that a federal crime? Isn't Bernie Madoff doing 150 years right now? One thing I don't know about his sentence is, after he passes, does his skeleton still have to stay in the cell to complete the 150, or do they just let him go? But he's doing 150 years. Slight overkill, I would say. Couldn't just give him life. No. But it's a Ponzi scheme. The federal government doesn't operate a for-profit business, which means it can't repay its debt from profits. Mm-hmm. Ponzi. And at 23 trillion, this isn't massive. This is astronomical. And I don't care what administration is in, they keep adding to the debt load. Well, at some point in time, somebody, some country, some company is going to finally say, no mas, no mas, and they're going to stop buying. And think about the fallout that's going to happen. Think about all the pension plans around the country. Forget anybody else in the world. Just start the pension plans in this country. Public, private, multi-employer, whatever, who are heavily invested in the treasuries because they were AAA rated and they had to go with the least risky investments. What's going to happen when the treasury can't make good on them? And those pension plans are already seriously underfunded, meaning they can't meet their future obligations based on what they have right now, which is very much like Social Security. Social Security will run out of all of its extra funds, it's estimated by the trustees, by 2034, 2035, which means the only thing that can go out is based on what's coming in, and you're talking about a reduction of benefits of 20%, if not more.
Yeah,
we need to fix them. We need to fix the monetary system.
So I said all that stuff is going to happen regardless, and that's one of the things where
no.
So here's the thing. So as of right now,
yes.
there will be no drastic changes to prevent any of those things from happening. So inflation will ramp up to probably hyperinflation. Taxation is going to be used as part of MMT to kind of offset some of the excessive and monetization of the government debt that they're going to bring into to being, and then the government debt going to grow regardless until there's a massive default of some kind. So, So Alan, I feel you. You like Alan. You want to bring about change like now. Problem is, most of the people are still asleep, and the chance of change happening between now and the time this thing unravels completely is not likely. So my thing is, how can you personally in your household not go belly up? And then how can you take some of this craziness out here and turn it into your benefit and somehow?
Okay.
Can I respond first?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, I'll be relatively brief.
I have an unpopular opinion too, but go ahead.
Oh, good. See, this is what's so good about this. If we as individuals make the decision to not do anything, then yes, Michael, you're correct.
That's right.
However, to say that something is inevitable, other than death, when it comes to human behavior, you're a professional athlete. Before you took the court, did you tell yourself, I'm never going to make another basket in the rest of my life?
Oh,
hell no.
Of course not.
No, I'm getting in there and I'm going to rack up a total. If you set your mindset to a negative spin, that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you set your mindset to, how am I going to help people learn so they learn to take action on their own and help others, that's a much different mindset. That's not a guarantee. That's not a lock. That's not a certain. But that brings about the potential for something successful.
Yeah.
If I lock my mind into this can never happen, this will never happen, guess what? It's not going to happen. So for me, no. And it doesn't have to happen now. I am happy to wait till next week. Okay? That's fine.
Yeah.
But to your point, and last thing is that I have a choice for me. One, I can work really hard to survive Armageddon. Or two, I can really work hard to prevent it. There's not necessarily much of a safe zone in between. I prefer to work really hard to prevent Armageddon, because if I'm sitting around and I'm fat, dumb, and happy, and I've secured myself, but I have to look out on a world that is just hellacious because the financial systems of the world have collapsed, I'm not feeling that good. Doesn't matter how physically comfortable I am. I want to work towards education, being part of groups like this that bring these conversations to people who normally would not be discussing this, and getting them active, getting them involved, and getting them to take action. That's our big benefit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I completely agree with everything that he just said.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, where's my thing? There. Oh, this one.
Here, hold my beer.
Yeah, the future and where we're going is actually based on what humans have always done. We've always moved towards efficiency as a collective, whether we're good guys or bad guys or whatever. The humanity as a whole, we move towards efficiency of exchange of energy. Always. That has never not happened. All right. What I'm saying with cryptocurrencies and blockchain is I'm not saying tomorrow that you're going to wake up and like gold and silver and like cash is all going to be worth. Not saying that at all. I'm saying the complete opposite. We will evolve and move forward. I'm just saying we're in an environment where the mother of invention is going to creep up on us really quick, and cryptocurrencies and blockchain are going to resolve a lot of issues that monetarily, if you put yourself in the right place, you're leading the crest of that wave, and you're not behind it, where a lot of people found themselves during the rise of the internet or automobiles or any other wave of technology that is going to push it forward. And that's why I preach and teach cryptocurrencies and blockchain. I am not anti-gold. I'm not anti-silver. I own, gold and silver. But I'm saying moving forward, the opportunity of gaining wealth and not just holding on to purchasing power is in cryptocurrency and blockchain. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Fair enough. Trader Steph, you have something you want to share?
Yeah, sure. None of that matters. No, but seriously, semantically speaking, that's my next article. Semantically speaking.
Ooh, good word.
Right. If no one knows what the word semantics is, it's to study a language. Yeah, that'll kind of blow your mind. I remember the professor I had, our final report that we had to do was we had to define the word real. So then you get into the word nothing. Because, okay, well, in order for a word to exist, it needs to represent something. Well, how can a word exist if there's nothing, right? Anyway, my point being, the problem is not the Fed. I mean, think about this. Yes, the Fed is a problem because we brought them into existence. We allowed them to exist. So the problem is not necessarily what the Fed's doing. The problem is Capitol Hill. It's Capitol Hill's job to do what it needs to restructure the Fed, change its policy, or get rid of it. What's it going to be? Because in the meantime, we're all diverted. The peasants are arguing while the kings are sitting in a castle, drinking and eating. And we're busy, 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 busy. So when I say none of this really matters, that's the point I'm getting to. I mean, there's a lot of other issues going on here besides the Fed. Don't get me wrong, like coronavirus. But, you know, come on, folks. Sound money will solve a lot of underlying issues because people have that old line drummed into their head that money makes the world go around, you know, because it does in some degree. So, you know, let's deal with our money. For God's sakes, let's do something about it.
And I think those issues will definitely be ironed. Those issues will definitely be ironed out in the days ahead because within this decade, for sure, you know, by the time this decade ends, we're going to really see where we stand, and if we were able to outlast the change and usher out those powers that be, or become further indebted to them and everything they have planned for us. So,
I guarantee you, we'll all have something to bitch about.
Oh yeah, we definitely will. We definitely will for times to come. All right, so we're approaching an hour. So unless somebody else has got another topic or something like that, we can get ready to dial back. Let me know what you guys think.
I got a comment for Steph.
Go ahead, Alan.
It is, when you say Capitol Hill, I take it you mean DC.
Yeah,
and
Congress.
Yeah, and to me, the number one problem in our country, despite all the major problems we do have in our country, and we do have many, and I don't dismiss them or diminish them, but the number one problem in our country is the monetary system, from my perspective, because everyone and everything is connected to, through, by, and with it. Mm-hmm. DC, in its collective, they're the employees. The problem really lies with us. I like the term citizen owner. We're the owners. Are we telling our employees what to do? No. The problem lies with us. And the analogy I've used before is, imagine you're going to open up a little retail shop. You rent some space, you get some inventory, you advertise, you interview, you hire, and you train your employees. You open the door and you walk away. How good's your business going to do? It's not. It's going to tank. Well, what do? We hire people. It's called an election. Chances are we never meet them. We don't interview them. We don't train them. We don't track what they really do. And we let them have the store. Every one of us needs to get more personally involved, whether it's a local, state, or national, or all three level, and start talking to our employees and find out what they're doing. We can change this system. We don't really need the Fed. And to me, what we need to do is take the power to create money, because this is, and when I'm talking money, I'm talking M1. The only entities that create money in our system are banks. We got to take that power back. But yeah, DC's not doing its job because we, the owners, aren't telling them what to do. And that's a personal choice that can be changed individually. Yeah. We don't have to wait. We don't have to wait for someone else.
Yeah, problem is the citizenry don't know that we are the original shot callers. So the government has done a good job of positioning themselves as the law enforcers and the law creators through legislation, all types of other things, where we think that we answer to them and not the other way around.
Exactly. This comes down to education. Probably why civics has been taken out of high school education. Probably why in Common Core, history has been turned into a subset of language arts. It doesn't even stand on its own. But to the point of this program and what we do together, what we do individually, we've got to get out and start getting people to think and get educated and to start being active. We have learned to be passive. Mm-hmm. We are lemmings being directed over the cliff. Well, we can make the choice. And that to me is, regardless of whether all of us agree or not on a topic, the importance of Wise Talk is that we're bringing up really important issues on a weekly basis for people to listen to and to begin to think about, what do they think? Where can I research more? Where am I going to stand on this? Does this affect me? And though most people never, and I know because of all the people I've engaged with on this, most people, they not only do they not think about money or the monetary system the way we discuss it, they don't want to. They don't think they need to. It's the most important, most powerful, most invasive system in our lives, and they don't think they need to. So I just want to say, Michael, thank you for putting this together. Thank you for putting this together for everybody who's on this on a weekly basis, including Steph and Silver Ben there. This is a wonderful opportunity to share and encourage people to get involved and stay involved.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would also like to reiterate what my friend said, because although we argue sometimes and we bicker, we get our little jabs in and all that. What I value about this program is that we all value each other's freedom to actually explain our point of view. It's argument leads education. And when I say argument, I don't mean like an communication leads education, because you have to have a question in your mind and then have a group of people actually talk about it. And that's what we do with our show. Whether you love cryptos or hate cryptos or don't know anything about cryptos, or whether you're pro-silver, anti-silver, I don't know anyone who's anti-silver, but whatever. And if you're a hodler like me, where you just purchase and hold, or if you're a trader, and you trade, the key is we're always communicating with each other. And I'd like to take a second and give a shout out to everyone watching this. The reason you're watching this is because you have that natural curiosity that you may hear something that will trigger another question in your mind. And the fact that you're watching this and you're over in the chat and you're communicating, and that shows you care about not only yourself, but you care about the community as a whole, because you are participating and you are actually involving yourself with your own education. Well, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the goal of putting this show together is to bounce ideas off each other, to learn and to get better individually, but then give people a way to connect with a lot of other like-minded individuals so that we all can take action in our own ways. So this happens to just be a show that we talk about these things, but yet the real action takes place when you cut this show off and then you go out into your world. What do? Do you continue to do the same things, or do you bit by bit share information or point them back to here or encourage people according to your own methodology? So yeah, we're just a support group. That's all we are. We're a big AA on trying to how to overcome the world problems, dealing with our monetary system, everything on top. So I do enjoy it, and of course, there's no bickering or jabs on my side because I get along with everybody, so I'm good.
Yeah, I can agree.
Oh man, but let's get ready to dial back. It's been an hour, so I appreciate everybody for spending time with us. Thanks for everybody to contribute their thoughts and ideas, and let's go out this upcoming week and try to make a difference in somebody else's world and come back with the story how we made an impact in our own world. That'd be something to add to the program. So other than that, we got Alan Myers, we got Bitcoin Ben, Trader Steph, Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys later.
Can I do one plug for me?
Do a plug. Yep, please do.
For anybody interested, we've got a website called FedEd, FEDED.us. And if you want to listen to Constitution Radio, you can go to KMET 1490 AM. That's on the web. Go to Saturdays. It's 1 to 3 p.m. West Coast time. Listen in.
Nice.
Thank you.
FedEd. I'll put it in the chat here so everybody.
FedEd.us. Yeah.
It's in the chat. All right, everybody, be blessed, be safe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Later,
Be
guys.
safe and well.